Gripsport Latino macht eine zweite Staffel Interviews mit Griffkraftlern aus aller Welt. Bei der ersten war unter anderem Nathan Holly dabei. Schaut mal bei ihm vorbei.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Evening or morning, depending on which part of the world you're in. I'm going to call Joe for today's episode. Buena, Nico, ¿cómo estáis? Acá estamos llamando a Joe Hodgson, el mejor grip guy de Australia. Grippy Skippy. Joe. Start today's episode. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Good morning, Panzer. I'm well. How are you?
I am really psyched. I am really excited about this episode. Really happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
You are one of the most asked guests for the show, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the followers are really eager to know more about you, more about the Grippy Skippy. So
The Grippy Skippy.
let's start with the interview. We want to hear it from yourself.
Okay.
Who is Joe Hodgson?
Who is Joe Hodgson? That's a great question. No. I'm a 44-year-old father of two. I do shift work with a local power company. I did rock climbing for about 25 years, mainly bouldering, and then surfing and other stuff like that in the meantime. And then during COVID, we got locked down. I couldn't go to the surf. I couldn't go to the cliff. And I found Gripsport. I always trained finger strength for rock climbing, and I really enjoyed the feeling of being strong. Not being strong, but feeling strong, if that makes sense. And so when COVID, I wanted something to train to keep my finger strength strong, and we went to my wife's family's farm, and there's no grip stuff there, like in my garage. All good?
All good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I got an Ironmind hub delivered to the farm, and I used some rocks for weights, and I looked at the Ironmind records, and I'm like, okay, I'm not too far off that. You know, the bottom one, not the top.
Okay.
And I just got addicted. I'd always loved training and keeping track of things and trying to improve myself. And this was the way to do it. And it was completely measurable. So I put another kilo on. I know I've lifted more. I've gotten stronger. You know. So yeah, I got fully hooked on that, and that's about it. Not much to tell.
Excellent. Yeah. Hey, Glenn Crudley is asking, where's your blob hat? Yo. I don't know what's the blob hat.
Thanks, Glenn. It's in my hat drawer. Yeah.
Excellent. We also want to know, Joe, your height and your body weight.
Okay, I'm about 6 foot. I think I'm about 186 centimeters, and my body weight is about 100 kilos. Sometimes something between 100 and about 104 kilograms. But I think I'm around 100, maybe even a little bit less at the moment. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I am really excited about having another climber in the podcast. The first one was Ben, of course, Ben Cozy. I don't know if he's watching. I'd love to. But I want to know, which is your best climbing graduation? I have my many climbers, many friends into climbing in Chile.
Yep. And
I remember Ben was like B15 and 30 something en route. Which are your levels, Joe?
Ben is one of the world's best. So just bear that in mind when you compare our grades. The highest climb I ever did was a grade 24. I'm not sure what that is in Euro grades. Not very high. But I only went climbing once or twice. And then I took a fall, and the rope wrapped around my leg and swung me upside down. And I was really close to hitting the ground. And I'm like, that's it. No more. So then I found bouldering, and I got really into that. And my hardest boulder was a V13. I think that's an 8B maybe. Yeah, I did a handful of 8A pluses, maybe 6 or 7 or something. I can't remember, but 118. But it was really hard for me because I'm naturally kind of bigger built, and so in order to climb really good, I had to really starve myself to keep my body weight really low. Like I did lots of climbs around V10 weighing about 100 kilos, but to get that next bit, I had to starve myself right down to like 78 kilos to get the V13. And that was not a very healthy thing to do for me. Maybe other people naturally will be really light, but I'm kind of heavy. So I wasn't eating much, and it was not very good for me. So, yeah.
You were born to lift heavy dumbbells.
I think so. It makes me happy.
Well, I also wanted to know some PRs of your sports career. What about your weighted pull-up? Have you ever tried your max?
I think I did a weighted pull-up with about 50 kilos added. That was a long time ago. So I know I could do like a few with 40 kilograms added, but I'm pretty sure I did one with 50 kilograms added. I could do one-arm chin-ups. I could do one-arm chin-ups on 2 fingers and off slopers and stuff like that.
That was my next question.
Okay.
Where do you start with the one-arm pull-ups? Have you done like the feet with the rolling handle one-arm pull-ups or something like that?
No, just stationary. Just 2 fingers. Yeah.
Just 2 fingers sounds crazy to me. It's like, no, I don't do this, but I do this. Really strong.
Well, I guess back then I was probably a lot lighter, and yeah, we could do this thing where you're on a campus board and you hold on one hand and then don't up and catch the next one up with the same hand. I could do that on the bigger holds and stuff like that, but yeah.
Very impressive. And what about some, let's say, powerlifting lifts? Squat, bench, deadlift. Which are your best?
Oh man, never done bench. I may have done it with like 50 kilos. I've never really trained it. Squat, I've only ever done with a vest on, a 30 kilogram vest. Okay. And deadlift, my heaviest deadlift would be my axle PR, which I think is 174 kilos. So on the 2-inch axle.
Which is heavy, by the way, for the ones that are watching. It's a good axle.
I'm not sure, because as a climber, I never wanted to get my legs very big. So I never trained deadlifts or squats or anything like that, because I found once you get your leg muscles big, they don't really get small again. And so it always felt like a one-way street for me. And I was like, wow, I might start climbing again, and then my big legs will slow me down. So I was always afraid of putting on too much bulk, if that makes sense. And I know that's not, people prove you can lift heavy and not put on bulk, but my understanding at the time was the more leg I do, the heavier my legs are going to go. But
yes, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the important stuff.
Okay.
Which is your best thick bar lift?
Rolling handle?
Could be rolling handle, yeah.
Rolling handle, I think I did on the crusher, the 2.25 one. I think I did 103.6 kilograms is my max.
Wow.
On the Rolling Thunder, I think I did 105, but I don't know if it was a full lockout. I really don't like the Rolling Thunder, so I don't even really think about that. And on
Who does? Who likes it?
Yeah, I know. And on the David Horn adjustable thick bar, you know what that is?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I have a really good question about it. Yes, I am aware.
Okay. I think I got the world record on that at about 186 kilograms or something. I did that because it's one-sided. I was scared for my back, so I got the record, and then I put 190 on, and I lifted it, and my hand slipped, so I sort of shocked, and I was really scared that it might do something bad for my back. That sudden slipping. They call it a dry fire, I think, when you slip off the hand. It's like climbing. You go to dyno and your feet slip, like, you know. So I was really afraid with that much weight that I'd do something to my back. And because I've had back injuries in the past, I was like, you know, I'll just call it 186 is enough. If someone beats that, then maybe I'll try for more.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And what about your best pinch, yo?
My best pinch would be I've got a 40 kilogram anvil.
Yeah.
And I added weight to that to make it 60 kilograms. And it's about 80 mil wide. And I could lift that up at 60 kilograms.
Do you have a video of that? I've never seen it, and it sounds amazing. I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram.
I'll check your Instagram. It sounds amazing, Joe.
Yeah.
And what about?
I almost did 60 kilograms on the 3x4 one-hand Saxon as well. I think I got 58 kilograms to lock out. So they're probably my best pinch. Yeah.
Impressive, Joe. And what about grippers? Which is your best gripper close?
The number 3, Captain's Crush. About 15 years ago, I probably did about 10 credit card closes. Not in a row, separate accounts, but...
I have done 0. It's impressive. 15. I have done 0 credit card sets with 3. Amazing. And that was like back then when you were into like bouldering?
Yes, I was into climbing, and a mate of ours, this guy, who was a climber, Dave Brayley, in the mountains, he's good friends with Ben. He had this number 2, Captains of Crush. And I was like, he brought it to climbing, and I'm like, I got a really strong grip, I'll have a go. And man, I couldn't budge it. And I just didn't understand why I couldn't budge it. And then about 5 or 10 years later, I was like, what was the name of that thing he had? So I got some online, and by then I'd started using my weighted grip machine, and I did the number 2 really easily. And then I got a 2.5 and 3, and yeah, well, to be honest, the first grip I ever got was a number 4. I was very, very excited, and oh man, obviously I couldn't even move it. And then I started getting the lesser ones, and it took me about 6 months or something to close the number 3, and then I could do credit. It took a little while longer. I could do credit card closes on the number 3. But,
and what about recently? Have you tried it?
I'm sorry, Pencha?
Have you tried recently to, like, considering your grip sport level, to close a gripper these days?
No, I've done... I've run several grip gauntlets at my house. So I'll set up 30 implements, and you try and do it for time. And in that, I had bend a nail and credit card close of the gripper. And I think I did a credit card at the number 2.5, but I haven't tried anything harder than that for a long time. I've lost a lot of interest in grippers. It'll probably annoy some people, but grippers do not excite me at all at the moment. Maybe I'll come back to it because I see the stuff the guys are doing, and it's, you know, it's super impressive, obviously, because I understand what it takes. But at the moment, for me, man, I just want to lift big dumbbells. Yeah,
and that's perfect. You're doing great, Joe.
Oh, thank you, Pencha.
Actually,
yes,
I want to know. Well, I know that you told us that you were into rock climbing.
Yep.
Did you mention which sports did you practice before Gripsport and before climbing? Did you have did you do sport while growing up, like in high school?
Yeah, not in high school. In primary school, I did soccer. I was bad. Like I was in the E's. We were like, I think they created a special team for the people they didn't really want to wear their jerseys. But that was fun. I did that for about 3 or 4 years, and then I kept spraining my ankle all the time. So I think once you sprain your ankle, it's kind of weak, and it just sort of happened a few times, and then I just sort of lost interest. But apart from that, I think I found rock climbing in about year 8, so I was probably about 14 or something when I found that. So probably about 30 years ago. For a sports day, they went indoor climbing, and then I found that, and I was just hooked. Yeah, loved it. but that's it. Just
And did you do any like weightlifting during all the rock climbing years?
just climbing strength. So
Okay.
like curls and hammer curls and chin ups and weighted chin ups and stuff like that. But just mainly body weight stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah. I did a lot of bushwalking.
Excellent. I think you mentioned before, but how did you found out about Gripsport? Was it like someone or Instagram or any other Australian grip guy?
I think it was YouTube. My wife, being really cool, bought me a bag of Iron, the Iron Mind product, a bag of nails. It comes with like the white ones, the green ones, the blue ones. She bought those for me for my birthday. And I did some bending, and then, it sort of hurts your wrists and stuff like that if you don't know what you're doing. So I gave it back. And then when we went to the farm during the COVID, I took some nails as well. And I was like, oh yeah. And I looked it up on YouTube, and I saw Adam Glass bending red nails, like in these weird positions, and he was just so insanely strong. And I noticed all his other videos. He's lifting dumbbells, and he's doing these weird pinch things, and it just got me searching. And I was like, oh, I like the look of that, because I've trained finger strength and grip strength for years and years, and I think I'd like that, and I think I'd be okay with it. And then I saw some other videos, and I can't even remember who I was looking at the time. Probably Jed Johnson. He was early on. Like, everyone sees Jed Johnson early. He's been doing it for so long. He's so great for the sport. I was like, man, I want to try some more of those weird grip things, Yeah.
Excellent, John. And where does the Grippy Skippy nickname come from, if I may ask?
Of course, you may ask. So like a colloquialism, it used to be, they're just called Aussies. When I was at high school, they'd just call Aussies or people with white skin skippies.
Okay.
And it just meant Australian. It just meant Australian. And I was like, oh, okay, no worries. And I'd always did my drawings and stuff like that. And one of them was a kangaroo, and he was holding the flask, like on the back of the shirt.
That's it. I can see it.
Yeah. And I knew just Grippy rhymed with Skippy. And I was like, yeah, I'm an Australian guy, and I do grip, so Grippy Skippy. It was, I don't know, not much, not a great story.
No, but I like it. Yeah. Perfect. So let's jump into the questions from the followers.
Sure.
I will start with someone from the US. Zach Mullins.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be an interesting one, Joe.
Sure.
If you could burn down one person's house, whose would it be? I don't understand, but it's like bizarre. I don't know.
Man, I don't have an answer for that, Zach. I don't want to.
It's okay. I mean, the idea was to laugh together, not necessarily for you to answer.
Absolutely. No, I don't want to burn anyone's house down. I'm extremely non-violent.
Yeah, I wanted with the question from the audience. Well, I want to let you know what the audience like to know, of course, and also to break some ice, of course.
Yeah.
There's one from Pedro No Kimono. He's from Australia, I know. I don't know if his name is Pedro or Peter. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's Patrick.
Patrick.
I know.
It should be Patricio, but it's okay. It's cool. Anyway.
You'll have to ask Patrick about that.
I'll ask him.
Yeah.
Patrick wants you to sing your favorite song.
You could tell Patrick that I'll DM him my favorite song later.
Actually, I asked Patrick, like, wait, but I think that was Strength Beyond Strength by Pantera, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
he told me, no, it's not. Ask him to
Oh.
sing.
I do like that Pantera song, but I'm not very good at singing.
I'm a huge fan of Pantera. Maybe you noticed when
Oh, are
I
you?
uploaded the stories,
Yeah, I did.
I was like picking the best Pantera songs. Like, oh, this one is really good. Well,
Man, we used to listen to Pantera when we were just in high school. I think one of the guys I hung around with, because my brother was always into Metallica and heavy metal and stuff like that, and I always kind of liked it. But then the guy from school introduced me to Pantera, and I was like, wow, this is the best, you know.
it's amazing.
And then
It's one of my favorite bands,
yeah,
actually.
and then I found Spotify not that long ago, and I was like, wow, all this old stuff, and started listening to Pantera again, and just got really psyched. Yeah.
Really good. I have a question from a friend from the UK, Josh Device 101. He wants to know,
Hey, Josh.
when you first got into grip, what was your strength at start? In example, what grippers could you close at first? But in general, which were like your lifts when you started?
Well, that's a tough question because I got grippers about 15 years ago. I got a Rolling Thunder about 10 years ago for climbing, and then I realized that it wasn't really good for climbing. I didn't really know how to train with it. I didn't really understand it. But then it was about 3 or 4 years ago that I sort of really got into grip. So if you mean 3 or 4 years ago when I really got into it, I think the first thing I got was I got the Iron Mind hub, and I think I did about 24 kilos on that.
That's good.
And then about 3 weeks later, I was doing about 28 kilos, but it really destroys your thumb. So it's not really, it's not a great indicator of how your strength goes, because the holdup is your skin. And like anything, when you get a new grip tool, it's not necessarily getting stronger on it, it's learning the technique. So it may take you a month, and then you turn your thumb slightly more like that, or whatever it is, and suddenly you're lifting more and you're like, I'm stronger. Well, maybe you are, but maybe if you're lifting like that, you would have lifted that number from the start, you know. So I got a flask after that, I think, and I think I did about 90 kilos, and then on the flask two-handed, and then I did about 100, then 110 a couple of weeks after that. It didn't take too long. And then I got the two-hand tip tester, and I think I got the record on that the first or second time I tried it. I can't remember. And then
That's amazing.
It just really suited my strengths, you know. But what is it? I think like the little bighorn, I think I did 80 kilos on that. That took me a little while to get used to it. That's a pretty specific lift. But that was from the help of Tim Butler. I reached out to him because he was pulling huge numbers, and he straight away, everyone in grip is so helpful. He straight away sent me videos and gave me all this advice, and my numbers just went up really quickly. But Tim's really awesome.
Yes.
I can't think of any other specific things he wants to know about. I can't really think of any.
No, but that was a really complete. It was really good, Joe.
Okay. Cool.
I have another question. I don't know how to pronounce his username. It's like S. Michael Seth. He wants your advice for competition warm-ups. How to warm up between attempts and how to warm up between events. What's your take on that? Speaking of an arm lifting competition first.
Sure. I've not been in many competitions, so I'm potentially not the best person to ask this. My only advice from what I did is warm up as close as you can to when you start, because the competitions that I've been in, I've run or been involved in running, I know when I was going to lift. If you were in it with 30 other people and someone else, you may not know. And so I guess you would just warm up slowly because your CNS takes a long time to get firing. But some of the different lifts, they're very friction dependent. So it takes a little while for the implement to feel good. So if I go 40, 60, 80, 100 kilos, I'm not lifting my best. I need to go 40, 60, 65, 70, 75. And each lift in between gets you firing just a little bit more. So maybe if you had something like just a rubber ring, and so you could do your warm-ups on the implement, and then if you've got to wait a while, at least your joints and your ligaments are going to stay warm in between. You could just have it in your pocket. It doesn't weigh anything. And you could just keep everything nice and warm. But if your last attempt on the warm-up implement is 45 minutes before you get to lift, wow, you're going to be screwed because your skin gets cold. And when your skin gets cold, it's really hard and it'll slip. So it's only when it's warm, it's kind of stretchy and you get nice friction on it. So if you kept something like that in your pocket, in between it, and you might use it in a few different ways or whatever, then you could stay warm and keep everything firing. I hope that
Excellent.
helps. I hope that helps.
Of course, it's wisdom from Joe. We really like it. There's a question from a friend from Chile,
Yep.
Nicolás Piña. He's really motivated. We have trained together. It's really into grip. He wants to know, Joe, have you ever thought about asking Nathan Hall or someone else to build like the Hodgson dumbbell, weighing like 110 or 115 kilograms?
Yes, I have. I was in discussions with him not very long ago about that. I wanted, Nathan is the most friendly, helpful man in the world. He's the best to deal with. Nathan's so cool. Hi Nathan, if you're watching. Nathan's awesome, and he's a group legend himself. So he's been very open to it. I discussed getting a 115 kilo one made. So the problem right now is shipping's really expensive.
I can imagine.
So although his prices are great for what it is, they're amazing. The shipping, which is out of his control, that's just insane at the moment. And I've got kids, and I'm the provider for the family, and I can't just go and spend that kind of money on myself whenever I want. So hopefully shipping will come down, and maybe some more people will jump in on the order, and maybe I'll get a monster dumbbell made. But yeah,
it will come in the future.
Yeah. I'd love like 115 or 120 kilograms maybe. That would be really cool.
It will be sick, actually.
Yeah.
I hope it happens really soon.
Yeah. I don't know how many people have lifted dumbbells like that, so I find that pretty exciting. I know there's the Mark Henry bell, there's Snookenstein out there. I don't know what other big bells are around to try, other than maybe strongman monster bells, but I don't know who's deadlifting those, so I'm not sure.
We will figure it out in the future.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I have a question from a friend from Mexico. His name is Ray SLPSG. He wants to know, how often do you work out?
I work out nearly every day. I want to lift every single day. I don't want to train really hard and then rest 5 days, because that's 5 days I'm going to want to go and train again. So basically, I finish strong every single session. So if I'm going to warm up for, say, the 104, I'll start doing rolling handle, and then I'll lift the 78 kilo inch, and then I'll start trying the millennium. And I might lift that, or try to lift that 5 to 10 times, and then maybe I'll do one set on the 78, maybe 5 reps or something, and then that's it. So I never go to failure. I'm never not strong enough to lift up the inch. And in 3 hours time, if I wanted to train, I could go train again, no problem, because I finish strong. I always feel good. But so my left and right hand I train separately. So normally I'll do dumbbells with my left, something heavy, and then the next day I'll do something with my right hand. I've had some injuries in my right hand, which has been really frustrating. So I'm lifting a lot less. So typically left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. But when I'm lifting really heavy, I'll have 2 or 3 days off if I can. I find it really hard to rest. So I'll try to have 2 to 3 days off. And if I'm going to have a competition, I'll train again every second day for it, or every third day, and then I'll have 4 or 5 days off before the competition, so that I can.
Perfect.
I'm just so psyched when I go in, you know, and because a lot of the time, the biggest handbrake is your skin. You get a tear in your skin, and then you can't lift. So my muscles are strong enough, my back's fine, my grip's fine, but then I get a tear in my skin, and then you do one warm-up lift and you tear it again. So quite often your limiting factors, nothing to do with strength, and then I've got to find something else to train that I don't need my thumb for, or wherever the wherever the skin injury is, you know. Yeah.
There's a question from Tom Denmay.
Oh, hey Tom.
He wants to know, why does everyone in Sydney bails on your group training sessions?
That's a tough question. I think it's just because they are very unreliable people. I think. I'm not sure the answer to that. I do shift work, which is rotating 8-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So quite often when I want to train, it's when no one else can. And everyone else has kids and families and other stuff going on. So, and because there's only about 5 of us in Sydney that do grip, it's pretty hard to line up a session. So thanks for that, Tom. That's really cool, man.
He posted like a laughing emoji.
Yeah,
they are having a good time with the questions. These guys.
Is there an emoji with a laughing face but tears in the eyes as well?
Yeah, that's right. Another one from the US. This is going to be like I think miscellaneous question,
right.
Which is this is from Stranger Grip, Chas Strange. I don't know if you know him. A really nice guy.
Yeah, top guy.
He wants to know which is your favorite non-grip activity.
Surfing.
Surfing.
Yeah, surfing. I ride longboards, so I try to nose ride, and I just like little waves, and I like the fact. Nice. Yeah, like in grip, I feel like I have to be in full control of everything for it to work, and in the surf, you're not in control of anything. You don't know what waves are coming. There's other people doing things. There's swimmers. There's the weathers. Everything's out of your control, and it's so relaxing to not play a part in your experience. So you go out there, and if you have a great session or a bad session, it's got nothing to do with me, and that's kind of nice to be able to take that pressure off. Like if I go down and do grip, I'm like, oh, I have a bad session because I trained yesterday. Why am I training today? Or I worked all night at night shift. I'm like, oh, that's my fault. Or I didn't warm up properly. Or I didn't let my skin heal. That's all in my control, and it's my fault. But out in the surf, and if I have a great session, cool. It's got nothing to do with me. But that's
It reminds me to the photo I noticed in one of your videos. You're in Utah and Buddy falling from the parachute. That's a really nice movie. I have seen it like 5 or 6 times, and the presidents are surfers. So
I
really
love that movie. My friend, who's my wife's cousin, we always quote the movie to each other. Utah, give me 2. And, he got it for me for my birthday. But that's a sporting activity. If I'm not doing grip, I just love hanging out with my wife and kids and do whatever they want to do. Go to the park or ride the bikes or just play Lego in the house or whatever it is. Yeah.
Another question from Australia. Pinch by pinch.
Oh,
What do you think is the best way to grow grip sport in Australia?
That's a tough question. Probably if no one bailed on our sessions, Tom, that'd be a really big help. I think the way to grow it is we need to expose audiences that would be open to trying it. So if they had a climbing competition, in the intermission you could try some grip stuff, or maybe Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or maybe wrestling, or some other sport that you require grip strength, but it's not immediately obvious that that's one of the handbrakes or a necessity to it. Does that make sense? So there's probably tons of people lifting weights that just start using straps, and they haven't even thought that I just should make my hands stronger because they see other people do deadlifts and they just use straps. So I don't actually know how to do that part. So I don't actually know how to begin that. I've tried having open days. I've posted stuff. I've put out several posts about taking stuff to a park so people can come and try it, and just no one replied. So I've had several grip gauntlets here and competitions at my house, and I've held record breakers. I've also held like online grip competitions as well, and there's been a few new people try it, but I don't actually know the best way to spread it. It's probably because there's not many people doing it at the moment.
Yeah.
They may be training grip, but not doing grip sport. So Isaac's a climber as well, and you know, he's really strong from climbing, and then he's found it. I'm not actually sure Isaac's story about how he found it, but I think it's going to have to be word of mouth to start with, you know, or I don't know. How do you spread it in Chile? Have you thought about doing this yourself?
This is how I spread it in Chile, Latin America, and in the world. I want to actually the project. One of the ventures of the project is to have a big presence in social media, do like short content. I am into TikTok, I am into Instagram, and I will do tournaments myself. And yes, I think the world needs more Joes, more Panchos, more Jet Johnsons who are like really passionate, really into it, and really into the sport, really into compete, really into spread the word, having inch dumbbells, tell the stories, and actually, personally, I think the best way to spread grip sport is to get people hands into the grip tools. That's how you know how it is and how it feels. That's actually like my take to make it bigger and to enjoy it mostly. I really enjoy it, even if it's online. Like we are like several 1C away from each other, but we share the same passion, and that's really cool.
That's one thing I found is that the grip community is just so amazing. You'll be talking to someone in a completely different country, and I might talk to them for several days over different messages, and I'm like, hey man, where are you? And they're like, I'm in Iran. And you're like, what? Or you know, or in Mexico, or like, you know, I get a lot of questions about building equipment and stuff like that. They're like, we just don't have this stuff, so how do you build it? And I'm like, oh, okay, man, I'm always happy to help everyone. You know, it's amazing, but I don't know how to get the word out further than that. Maybe it's just time. Maybe
I think it's a matter of time. Yeah,
yeah.
it has grown a lot, like worldwide these last years. Well,
It's
but
back to the climbing thing. Sorry to.
yes,
Climbers pretty much just want to go climbing. Like once you're hooked, if you're really into it, you're really into it. You know, and they've got that passion. So I found that with several climbers is that they don't really want to do grip because that means you can't climb that day and you might be too sore to climb the next day. So perhaps it's got to be more tailored or more appealing to specific sports. So like the tension block or, you know, targeted. And then once they're in, you say, hey, try the hub, or try the dumbbells, you know, like. But that's how we got Ben involved. I was holding the King Kong and I'd reached out to him a few times and like he said, and I knew he'd be really good at it and he came down and tried it and he's just like, man, this is unreal. So I think we need more people like Ben, who's just such a positive role model and so psyched and such a high achiever. And, you know, I'm not elitist at all. If you're trying your best, man, that gets me psyched too. But you need someone with that passion. And the passionate people tend to do better because they're so, you know, laser focused.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a question from a friend from Colombia, Joe.
Hey.
He wants to know if you prefer blobs or inch dumbbells.
Oh, tough question.
Which is your favorite?
That's a tough question. I don't know if I can answer that because they're both. I like them both.
That's okay. That's okay. I could not choose either, mainly because I've never tried an inch dumbbell, but I like both. I like both of them.
Probably inches at the moment. At the moment, I find my body lets me know when I've had enough. So I was training really hard to do Blobzilla, and then I found my other lifts were suffering because I had to have my hands so open and so wide. I use my hand in a way that I don't use for anything else. And also I found that it created a lot of pain in my inner elbow. I'm not sure what that's called. But I was lifting that and then I stopped improving. And then I started getting sore. So I was like, okay, that's my natural cue. I'll let that rest for a bit. I'll go back to dumbbells. So I'll go and lift inch dumbbells. And then I start lifting dumbbells again. I'm like, I love dumbbells. You know? But then, you know, in a few weeks, my body might say, okay, that's enough inch dumbbells. I'll start getting different pains or different sore, or I'll stop improving. And then I'll go back to blobs again. And then they'll be my favorite again. But there's no real, I know that's not an answer, but I love both a lot.
That's perfect. I really like it.
Yeah.
Speaking about some training tips, training with wisdom from Joe.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite exercise for extensors training?
I've got one on my channel where I use, you know, the flat Medi bands. It's like a rubber thing.
Yes.
And I can hook it under my elbow and then up
Okay.
over the top of my fingers, and I pull it tight with this hand, and then it's really pulling my hand out, and then I can just extend my hand against the Medi band, and that feels really, really nice. But the other thing is crimping. Give me 1 second. This isn't a grip tool, but when I do the grip motion, to crimps not like that. To crimps like that, you bring the tool back into your hand, which brings the back of your hand up, which engages all all your extensors, and that's why you see climbers. They don't necessarily have huge forearms. When they're climbing, you see every single strand in their extensors, and that crimping motion, that works really, really nicely. You're going to use it a little bit when you're doing dumbbells to stabilize, because it's a whole wrist exercise, but nothing really engages it like crimping. And, rubber bands and stuff like that, I don't necessarily do a lot of that. I've done some in the past, but no great success personally. But the Medi band thing is really cool. I'll send you the video if you like.
I will have to try it, because I am really into the mini bands, but never tried the exercise with the band. I will definitely try it.
And try like a crimping kind of a lift. But so you're bringing the back of your hand up to form the grip. That'll engage.
Actually, I was prepared for that, because I have one of my grip tools, which is for climbing.
Yeah.
I will use it like this.
Yeah.
In my next workout.
Use two hands if you can. And when you do it, make sure the motion's really nice and smooth. If it feels clunky, you know how sometimes it feels clunky? It's too heavy. Go light. Just do more reps, light, until keep it really smooth. Yeah. If you go clunky, that means it's too much pressure on one of your knuckles, and it's no good's going to come from that. So make the weight a little bit lighter and just nice and smooth. I was talking to John Oker about it recently. Yeah.
Perfect.
Give me one sec. I'll show you. So this is it on like a plate. Just nice and smooth.
Excellent.
And you get those sticky bit. Like if you did that one-handed, it would feel clunky. That's because it's too heavy. Go to a lighter weight. Just nice and smooth.
Zach Mullins is here, and he says, "Wet fruit." I don't understand.
I missed it. Wet fruit. Yeah. I'll just say about that.
Hey Joe, do you create your own training, or do you have a coach, let's say?
No, it's all myself. I'm very stubborn. I decide I want to do something, and then I just start trying to do it. And sometimes
perfect.
I could probably get things some things quicker, but I like to do things my way. I just like experimenting. I love the process. A coach is probably a really good thing, and there's some great coaches out there, obviously. But do you use a coach, Pancho?
Yes, I don't know if you know Fat Muscle Coaching, Sam Solomon from the UK.
Yeah.
He's my coach, and he's
cool.
really good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I know he does coaching, and Ricardo does coaching, and Jed does coaching. I think Paddy does. There's a few guys out
Gravel
there.
does some coaching as well.
Who, sorry?
Yves Gravel from Canada, the climber.
Oh, does he? Yeah, I don't know him. I know who he is. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I've always just enjoyed the process of finding out how to do it myself. So, yeah.
Joe, which are your goals for 2023, sport-wise? I mean.
23. I want to lift Blobzilla. Definitely. I'd like to lift the 104 kilogram dumbbell more level, if I can. It's quite tilted at the moment, the lift that I'm doing. I'm not massively worried about it. Like, that's how all the top guys lifted it, tilted. There's only a few people that have lifted at level. And these are big humans, much bigger than me, much stronger than me. So it was a really top priority, but now, not so much. I'm happy just to be lifting it tilted. I'd like to lift like 110 kilos on the crusher. That'd be pretty cool. What else? That's about it, man. That's
Are
about
you
it.
preparing for King Kong this year? Will you participate?
Yeah, for sure.
How's
I'm.
how's the prep going?
It's not really going.
But the exercise that you do are a good preparation, I guess, with the dumbbells. I mean, the
Yeah,
crusher will be really easy after the 104 full
yeah.
dumbbell.
Well, I noticed that um, I tried the jog and I went okay on that. Um, Crusher is about the same. I think I'm lifting a bit under 100 kilos at the moment.
Okay.
Jog, I think I did about 110 kilos. Finish ball, that's in this year, yeah? I think that's
Yes.
finish ball. I think I've done about 40 kilos. So I guess it'd be pretty cool to get a better score than last time. But it depends on who goes in it, man. Competitions are weird because it's there's so many grip tools that you're trying to PR in. It's very hard to determine or guess what numbers to go for. And because it's rising bar, if your first lift is too low or too high, man, that's it. You might not get a score at all. So yeah, so I'm running King Kong in Sydney this year.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it'd be good to get a better score in that. Did you compete last year?
No, I couldn't because I was traveling. Actually, I competed at Skillet Hands in New York with Christoph Alex.
Oh,
That's
cool,
where
cool.
I met Tim, I met Chaz, I met Alex and another gripster. So I couldn't participate that year. I'd love to host a King Kong myself this year.
Oh yeah.
I am working for it. I'm
Yeah.
getting ready. Actually, I have my blockbuster. I
Ah,
have my finished ball over there,
yeah.
but I need to get my FBBC stock, so I still don't have it. But if I get the chance to buy it, I will
Yeah.
go for it. Of course.
Yeah, you better order it soon. Some shipping takes a long time, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
I
know,
wanted
but
to do Skillet Hands comp, but I didn't get a chance to do it this year. I did Jed's competition last year, Worldwide Grip Comp. That was a good one. I like
yeah,
that
I'd
one.
love to do that one as well. I'm really into it this year. I want to
Yeah.
host a competition, yes or yes. So
It,
speaking about King Kong,
yeah.
I noticed your poster has color in it, and I love it.
Oh, yeah.
And I also noticed your drawing. So let's call this part like Gripsport art. You are
Oh,
into drawing, coloring. Do you like it?
sure. Yeah, love it. Love it. I just I find my brain doesn't turn off, so I'm always just thinking of stuff. This one, I wanted to print it, but I saw all the black and white drawings, and I thought they were all a little bit boring. So I don't know if you can see it. I just took a photo of it on the iPad and just
Yeah.
colored it in with the auto thing on the iPad and then printed it. It's not amazing, but I think it looks all right.
I think it's beautiful. I really
Oh,
think
thank you.
it's beautiful. Also, I mean, I was thinking if I had the chance like to have a shirt like that,
Oh,
I
yeah,
will buy it instantly. It's really nice
yeah,
colors, and I
yeah,
mean, gorillas are like black or brown in this case, but I
yeah,
really like it.
yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, well, that's like the Australian colours are always the green and the gold in competitions and stuff. So that's why I picked the green and the gold.
Why are those the Australian colors, the green and gold?
Oh
It's
man,
like a history background. Maybe I didn't do my research about the Australian colors.
you're gonna make me you're gonna make me look bad here. I don't actually know why.
No, no worries, no worries. I
I,
will study. I will study it.
I
No,
actually
because
I think the green and the gold is the color of the wattle tree. So they got the green, they got the green leaves and the gold flowers. I don't actually know how it came about that they're the colors we use for sports because it's not the colors that are on our flag. So I'm not sure. Sorry, Australia.
Pinch by Pinch says, from the golden waddle. I don't know
there you go. So, well, that's what I said. The wattle tree. It's a tree. Yeah. I don't know how it came to my sporting colours, but yeah.
Perfect. I really like it.
Yeah.
One of the final questions, Joe. Sadly, because we have 1 hour on the Instagram live, so there are many questions that I'd love to ask, but we will use the time wisely.
No problem.
There is an opinion that I want to ask from you.
Yes.
Let me think about this really clearly. What's your opinion on this statement? Adjustable stake bar, tips tester, stirrup. Could those implements lead you to finger injury if going too heavy?
Yes. Yeah.
And how do you do it to break world records on those grip tools and not die in the way?
How you could do it is you're just going to have to build up slowly, because all those implements use a lot of the ligaments and the tendons and the pulleys in your finger to hold the correct hand position.
Yep.
So if you're using the tip tester, that second knuckle is kind of, you can't help it, because with your index finger and your pinky straight, in order for your fingertip to be on the bottom, those knuckles have to be bent. And that puts a lot of pressure on this knuckle. And as a rock climber, that's how you grab 99% of your holds. So all my tendons and pulleys and all that were already very strong when I came to it. So I was used to holding my body weight one-handed like that. So now that I'm lifting this with two hands, the total weight is less than my body weight. Does that make sense? So I weigh 100 kilos and I can hold it at 100, but I'm not lifting 200. I'm lifting 150 or whatever it is. So with the two hands combined, it's less than that's max and that's max together. So the only way you can really avoid that is to do it slowly, because it's going to take a long time to build that strength and not get injured in it. You can remember the exercise I showed with the plate a minute ago, the rising cramp. I did that for years and years, because I've got a machine that I can use to do it. But if you don't have that, then you're just going to have to go really slow and really light and do a lot of it, and don't go to fatigue. And you've got to remember that your fingers have really poor blood supply, so you can't train every day because it just doesn't recover. Your forearm muscle, that will recover, but all your tendons and your ligaments, they take ages. You need 4 or 5 days for them to repair. So if you're going to go heavy, man, you need to wait a long time. When I was training really heavy earlier, I'd train once every 8 days. And if I did 6 days in, I was still too sore and I had to wait more. And then 8 days was the perfect number, and I'd still get stronger and stronger, but I wouldn't get any soreness. And I know that's not in line with other training, that you've got to do it. So you sort of, but for me personally, what I was doing with the heavy lifting, I needed a lot of recovery. So does that answer the question? Very slowly is the answer. That was a long answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, cool.
And Joe.
Yes.
The last words belong to you. Tell us, Joe, which message would you like the audience to take away from this lovely interview? What is your, like, the final message that you would like to share with the Gripsport Latino community?
I just want to see more people do grip. I want to see more people psyched You don't have to be breaking world records. I just want to see people training, loving it, and psyched and having fun. And that's it. Just keep training. Yeah.
Excellent, Joe. I want to thank you for your time. It was a really great interview. Really sadly that we just have like some little time and the time difference as well.
No problem.
But I hope we can meet soon. We can have another interview in the future with a better setup and better audio and all of it. And I hope that we can meet each other in Australia maybe in the future.
You are.
I think there is a big chance that I travel there, and I would love to join a competition with the Australian Grip Council.
Very, very welcome, man. Anytime you like. Come over.
Excellent, Joe.
All right, nice.
Well,
nice, man. Thanks
have a great day. Have a great day. And we will see each other soon. Goodbye, Joe.
See you, brother. Bye, man.